Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to One Piece, episode 1018. So, it's kind of wild to believe that episode 1000 was 18 episodes ago. Or, I guess technically 19. But it's weird because it feels like it was... It feels like it just happened, you know? I mean, I know it was like, I think before the end of last year, but still. We're 18 episodes past. That's almost an entire 2-core anime series. That's insane to think about. It just flies by. Like, even with the break we had, due to the Toei hack and everything, it's just kind of flown by since episode 1000, and I think it's specifically because of what's happening in the series currently, with the fight against Kaido starting and everything, and just the continuation of this overall raid on Onigashima. Things are just going like wild to a whole new level. And last episode, all we pretty much got was the fight with Kaido and Big Mom, so I don't know where this is going to go. I don't know if we're just going to get more of that this episode. I don't know if we're going to focus on some other things. I don't know. But it's been one hell of a ride. This arc has just been leaps and bounds above all the others. And that's saying a lot, because Oda has put so much work into every arc of this series. Like, even going back and watching some of them, it's like you kind of start to realize, it's like, this is better than I thought it was. Like, for example, as always, I've been watching Ruff Senpai's reactions on his Patreon. And he just finished up the Zoe arc. I haven't done the last video for that yet, but he just posted all of the videos finishing up the Zoe arc, and I've only seen that arc once. I like the arc. I've always liked the arc. But I've only seen it once. I forgot how just intense and powerful it actually gets at the end. Like, it's wild how good it is. There's this one moment at the end of the Zoe arc, the Raizo is safe moment, that is so fucking good that it actually, like, legitimately made me break down rewatching it with Ruff Senpai, with his reaction. I believe it's episode 767, and it legitimately made me absolutely break down. And there's many scenes in this show that do that. But I wasn't expecting it there. I knew what was coming. I knew what was about to be said at that point. But I forgot how impactful it was, how powerful it was. And it got to me. Like, really hard. Like, I had to pause Ruff's video literally to just cry for probably 10 minutes. I'm not even joking. That's a long time to be crying. Just to be practically doing nothing but crying. Like, that's how hard it hit me. It's that powerful of a moment. It's that just exceptional of a moment. It's so perfectly executed that it shocks me that I forgot about it. Or not so much forgot about it, but just forgot how powerful it was. But it's when it's at that point where it's like, oh, you have over 1,000 episodes, and it's like, when you think about all the best moments from the series, some things are probably going to be forgotten or just not thought about. But it's like that definitely deserves to be on the list, and I I would not have thought about it before seeing this again. And it was a lot of setup for this current arc. Zoe is very much set up for Wano. Even though there's still Whole Cake Island between them, and it does set up for that as well, it is very much heavily setting up Wano. And that scene in particular unveils a huge, huge truth that directly correlates to Wano and the Akazaya 9. It's a big fucking deal. And because of the way it was delivered, it broke me. And I'm not afraid to admit that. I'm never afraid to admit when a series breaks me. But it really hit me hard. And I love that. I genuinely love when a series can elicit those emotions out of me. And this series has done it so many times, it's not funny. But yeah, I don't know what to expect with what's coming up and everything. I assume we're going to start to see other fights. I assume we have to start seeing the other fights. It's not just going to focus entirely on the fight against Kaido and Big Mom. It can't. Because there's other fights going on at the same time that need focus, and you can't just like relegate it to one fight at a time. Not in a series like this, not with as big of stakes as there are, not with the characters in the other fights being so important. But you want to know the funniest thing? Just going really quickly, going back to the moment, the Raizo is safe moment from Zoe. I should have realized how impactful and powerful of a moment that was. Because, you know that montage in episode 10-15, right before Luffy hits the Gomu Gomu no Red Rock on Kaido? You see the montage of all of these moments as Luffy's like thinking back to everything that brought up, that came to this point. And it's showing like a flashback of different moments from the arcs leading up to this and Wano itself. One of those moments, it shows Cat Viper patting Usopp on the head. This is directly after the truth is revealed. Directly after it's revealed that the Mink tribe had been putting their lives at risk to keep Raizo safe from Jack and the Beast Pirates. Usopp got upset. He started yelling at them and crying, and because he was worried. He was scared for how they had been almost killed. Dogstorm and Cat Viper both lost limbs because of this. Because they were so insistent on not revealing the truth that Raizo was there. And Cat Viper just goes up to Usopp and pats him on the head and says, "We're sorry for keeping you in the dark as well." But that... he tells Usopp that they'd risk everything to never sell out their Nakama. Even just thinking about it again here is getting to me. Because it's at that point you see the reactions of the other Straw Hats and everything. Nami's face breaks me. Nami has like this really, like, how do I put it? Like, it's very obvious she's crying very hard, but she's also like forcing this smile because she's so happy about it. It's happy tears. It is very happy tears. And Nami's face is just like, it's one of my favorite expressions in the series. And for a series that is as expressive as One Piece, that's saying a shit ton. But it's even after that. After they reveal that they'd risk everything for their friends and everything, for their Nakama, You see Luffy's surprised face turn into this giant ass grin. And you just know at that moment, Luffy has found people that he truly, not just respects, but loves. It's at that moment that the Mink tribe truly became allies to the Straw Hats. That they became friends to the Straw Hats. Luffy, at that single moment, considered the entire Mink tribe his Nakama. And it's said through a single expression. But you know exactly what that expression means, because you understand that Luffy has the exact same ideology in regards to his Nakama. It's a major factor that the series is built on. It's one of its core themes. So he doesn't have to say anything. Nothing has to be said at that moment. You just see his smile grow so fucking wide, and you know exactly what that means. It's visual storytelling at its best. And this is honestly why I think that the anime is better than the manga. Like, I haven't read that part in the manga. Like, I only read up to a certain point. I think it was Alabasta in the manga. I'm not confident in that, though. It was somewhere around that point, though. I never, like, got that far because I stopped reading manga because I wasn't enjoying it. And I realized I wasn't really getting anything out of it. But even just generally, like, I can't imagine that scene being as powerful in the manga, because parts of what made it powerful was the voice acting, the score, and seeing Luffy's face change in motion. In the manga, I can imagine it just shows like maybe 2 panels, like his face one way in the one panel, and the next panel he has this big smile. It would be nowhere near as impactful. You have to see it changing in motion. That is part of what really makes that scene. And again, the voice acting from the characters during that scene, the score, everything working together is what makes that as powerful as it is. It's the same thing as with the I Wanna Live moment from Enies Lobby. That moment is powerful because you're hearing Robin's VA say that, scream that. And because right after she does, you hear the soundtrack kick in, the triumphant music kick in as Luffy smiles. This is the kind of stuff that, for me, just proves without a shadow of a doubt that the anime is better. And the thing is, if you like the manga better, that's fine. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. I'm just going to tell you I see it differently. That my perspective is different. This kind of stuff, the voice acting, the soundtrack, all of that stuff matters a lot to me in my enjoyment of this series. Like I said, I just don't get anything out of the manga. And even recent parts in this series, with what's been going on with all that scene in 10:15, right before the Gomu Gomu no Red Rock and everything, that scene was fucking breathtakingly amazing. And again, it was because of the voice acting. It was because of the soundtrack. It was the great animation, stuff that cannot work in the manga, because you don't have the voicing, you don't have the music, you don't have the animation. That is the stuff that made it as good as it was. I don't even know if that part was in the manga. That might have just been an anime only thing for all I know. Or the part where Yamato is realizing that Luffy and Roger had the same dream. Again, that was so powerful because of the visuals, the voice acting, the music. Again, that may just be me, and that's fine. But it is my real view on this all. And I know I've gone into a bit of a tangent in these pre-thoughts, and I apologize for that, but there's just a lot that I really feel like I need to say about this series all the time. And I love to gush about it. I love to go on tangents about it because this series is my favorite piece of media of all time. It means that much to me. It's that constantly good. And again, rewatching with Ruff's reactions have just affirmed that for me. That it is just that constantly good. Not even just consistently, but constantly. There are only, like, maybe a couple points in this series overall that I'm not as big a fan of. Like the Long Ring Longland arc. But those are very much rare to come across. Like 95% of this series is not just good, but outright phenomenal. And it just, I keep getting reminded of even these arcs that may not be my favorites comparatively are still fucking amazing. Like Punk Hazard, Fishman Island, like they're actually really fucking good. They may not be as good as other arcs, but they're still really fucking good. So yeah, let me gush every now and then. Let me just go off on a tangent. I love to do that. So I'm sorry if you wanted to maybe hear more, but I don't really have too many pre-thoughts going into this episode because last episode was so simple. It was just continued fighting. And Luffy is definitely bringing it all, and that's going to help, but this fight's going to last. We know that for sure. We'll just have to see how it goes. Either way, we are going to get this started. So, let's do so. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black, then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Another really great episode, and while last episode a lot of people were praising it for its overall animation, this one had a very few specific moments that were just like, in terms of art and animation, were really fucking good, in my opinion. The way Kaido was coiling around and everything looked really fantastic. The visuals on the cut he got from Zoro was really gnarly, and I had to use that as the thumbnail. It was just like, wow, that was so well visualized here. And it's just like, I love seeing those like specific things like that. But this episode was, once again, pretty much entirely the fight against Kaido and Big Mom. And again, I very much am enjoying this fight, but we got to get back to the others too. We got a glimpse at them. After, you know, the roof was shaken because of the fight and everything, and Kaido being knocked down. Like, we saw them reacting to it. We saw everyone reacting to it. But it showed them for, like, what, maybe 2 seconds each? That's not what I meant. I want to actually get back to their fights as well. I want to see the continued stuff with Jinbei and Who's Who. I want to see the continued fight between Frankie and Sasuke. That's his name, Sasuke. I want to see everything going on with Ulti continuing to chase down Nami and Usopp. And now as well. Otama. I want to see everything going on still. The only thing we got outside of the fight in this episode was a little bit of Cypher Pole Aegis Zero just kind of being, like, annoying. Like, they're just watching the fighting go down and reveling in it because it makes their job easier. And it's like, you guys kind of suck. um, they're just talking about how, like, Luffy and all taking down Doflamingo has changed the course of this world. And if by some miracle in their eyes, Luffy does manage to defeat Kaido and Big Mom both, and I get not just Luffy, but the worst generation in general. If they do manage to beat both of these emperors, it will change the course of the world in a way that no one can predict. And honestly, yeah, it definitely would. That's undeniable, I think. I really want to see what happens with this fight too, but I want to see everything going on. All this other stuff is great as well. We can't just ignore everything else just to focus on one single fight. A series like this, it can't work that way. You have to showcase a little of everything off. But I'm sure it'll get back to it. We're just, like, really focusing on this right now, I think, because of how big of a deal it is. It's like, this is the climax fight of the series. So yeah, they're going to put a few episodes into focusing on this at the beginning, and then they're going to start going back into other things. It's just, I do want them to go back into the other things. I understand why they're doing it, both from the anime team and Oda, but still, I want to see, more. Because it doesn't. It also gives me very little to talk about during the episode or during the afterthoughts. Because it's like when basically only one thing is happening in the vast majority of the episode, it's like it doesn't really give you a lot to speculate on and to think about and to discuss afterwards. It's one thing happening. So it's not that it's boring, not at all. It's still very exciting and very hype. It's just that it's simple. It's simple and there's not a lot to it, and sometimes that's good. Sometimes that's hell fucking great. And especially in One Piece, sometimes the simple things really work. But in this situation, it's like we want there to be a little more to, digest each week. Maybe that's just me though. Maybe I'm just like wanting to see more because I like these other characters too. But I do like them so much, and I do want to see more. I want to see Jinbei's fight, his first big fight as part of the crew. I want to see this. Because he didn't really get a huge fight in Whole Cake, and like this is like a big fight too, I feel. I mean, he's taking on one of the Tobiropo, working directly under Kaido, one of the emperors. It's like, come on, that's kind of a big deal. And all the other stuff too. It's not just that one, but that one especially interests me. Also because I just really like Jinbei. But yeah, I'm still very much enjoying this. I want to make that clear. I'm still very much hype over this. It's still great to tune in every week. I'm not denying that. I do want to see these other fights continue on and everything as well. That's all. Either way, tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this episode of One Piece? And thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.